The sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being. Carl Jung. What if the meaning of life isn't about climbing the tallest mountain, building the biggest empire, or winning the loudest applause, but about lighting a single candle in the vast night of your own soul? Carl Jung believed that our true task in life is not to escape the darkness, but to illuminate it. Not to deny the shadows that haunt us, but to make them conscious, to bring them into dialogue, and to weave them into the story of who we are becoming. This was no abstract philosophy for Jung. It was forged in his own crucible of crisis. After parting ways with Freud, Jung fell into years of inner turmoil. He dreamed, he wrote, he painted, he nearly broke. But from this descent into the unconscious came his greatest insights: that the path to meaning is carved not by avoiding suffering, but by embracing it. And so he left us not just theories, but a map, a set of guiding steps toward a life that feels less like survival and more like purpose. The first step is perhaps the hardest, and yet the most necessary. Know your darkness. Step 1. Know your darkness. We live in a world obsessed with light. Smiles for the camera, achievements for the resume, carefully curated lives for display. We present our strengths, our joys, our best selves. But beneath the surface, another world waits. Jung called it the shadow, the rejected parts of us, the feelings we bury, the impulses we condemn. Anger you never express, envy you never admit, desire you never allow, grief you never mourn. These are not gone simply because you hide them. They live underground, shaping your choices in secret. They appear in your dreams as strangers, in your slips of the tongue, in the patterns you swear you'll never repeat yet somehow do. To know your darkness is not to wallow in it. It is to face it honestly. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Imagine a traveler descending into a cave with only a small lantern. At first, the shadows loom terrifying, monstrous, distorted, but the closer he steps, the clearer they become. What seemed like a beast is just a rock formation. What looked like a demon is just his own reflection. The darkness loses its power not because it disappears, but because he dares to see it. So too with us. When we refuse to face our shadow, it rules us. The anger we deny leaks as sarcasm. The envy we repress poisons our relationships. The fear we suppress becomes control. But when we face the shadow, name it, listen to it, integrate it, it transforms. Anger becomes assertiveness. Envy becomes aspiration. Fear becomes caution turned into wisdom. Jung believed that ignoring the shadow leads to projection. We cast our denied qualities onto others. We call them selfish when we have neglected our own needs. We call them arrogant when we secretly crave recognition. To know your darkness is to reclaim these projections, to stop blaming the world for what lives within. This is not comfortable work. It asks us to sit with shame, with guilt, with memories we'd rather erase. But it is liberating work, because every time we face a fragment of darkness, we retrieve energy once trapped in repression. We become less reactive, less fragile, more whole. Strength, Jung insisted, is not built by pretending we have no shadow. It is built by carrying the shadow with us, consciously, by admitting, yes, this too is me, and I can still choose. So the first step toward meaning is not to chase more light. It is to turn around, step into the cave, and meet the darkness you have denied. Because only there, in the place you least want to look, lies the power you most need to find. Step 2, work on yourself. Once you have dared to look into your own darkness, the next step is to work with it. Jung believed that transformation begins not with denying our flaws, but with weaving them into strengths. Most people try to escape themselves. They chase distractions, numb with noise, drown in busyness. But Jung taught the opposite. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. Working on yourself means becoming the sculptor of your own psyche. Imagine a block of marble. Within it lies a figure, but to reveal it, the sculptor must chip away not only excess stone, but also confront the cracks within. Our flaws, our wounds, our contradictions, they are not waste to be discarded, but material to be shaped. Take weakness, for instance. The person who feels too sensitive may, through reflection, discover that sensitivity is not a curse, but a gift of empathy. The one who feels too angry may learn that anger, integrated, becomes the voice that sets boundaries and protects dignity. To work on yourself is to stop asking, how do I erase this part of me? And start asking, how do I integrate this part of me into something useful, something true? Jung warned that repression is poison. What we push down does not vanish. It festers, waiting for its moment to erupt. But integration is medicine. When you bring light into your shadow, when you accept the paradoxes within you, energy once trapped in conflict is released for creation. This work is not easy. It requires honesty. It requires patience. It requires the courage to see yourself not as you wish to be, but as you are. Yet it is the most worthwhile labor you will ever undertake. Because as you reshape yourself, you reshape your life. Step 3. Take action. But Jung would never let us stop at reflection alone. To understand yourself without acting on it is to remain a dreamer forever asleep. Action is the crucible in which insight becomes transformation. We often imagine that meaning will descend upon us like revelation, a sudden lightning bolt of clarity. But Jung taught that meaning is not found. It is made, hammered into existence through choices, risks, and lived experience. Think of the person who endlessly journals, analyzes, and plans, but never steps into the arena. Their knowledge grows, but their life does not. The shadow remains theory, not reality. The persona stays intact, untested. Jung's counsel was sharp. Act. Even imperfect action brings more growth than perfect contemplation. To take action is to test your insights in the fire of reality. If you have realized your anger hides a need for boundaries, then practice saying no. If you have discovered your creativity buried under fear, then paint, write, build. Badly at first, but honestly. If you have uncovered a longing for deeper relationships, then risk vulnerability. Jung called this process individuation in motion. It is not about grand achievements, but about small, daily acts of alignment. Every time you act in truth rather than in persona, you strengthen the self. Every time you choose courage over avoidance, you weave meaning into the fabric of your life. Action is also the antidote to despair. When you move, even falteringly, you break the paralysis of fear. You prove to yourself that growth is possible, that you are not merely the sum of your past. Each action becomes a seed, and though not all seeds grow, the act of planting transforms the planter. And here lies the paradox. Waiting for certainty keeps you trapped, but moving in uncertainty creates certainty. The self does not reveal itself to the passive. It reveals itself to those who dare to live. So, Jung's third step is clear. Do not merely think. Do not merely analyze. Take action. Step into the world with your insights as compass, not cage. Transformation is not an idea, it is a practice. And only in practice does meaning take root. Step 4. Embrace fear. Fear is the silent gatekeeper of every great transformation. We think of fear as the enemy, the thing to be conquered or crushed. But Jung turned the idea on its head. Fear is not the wall blocking your path. Fear is the path. He wrote, "Where your fear is, there is your task." Think about that. The very place you tremble, the very thing you avoid, is often the doorway to your growth. The conversation you are terrified to have may be the key to your freedom. The creative risk you avoid may be the seed of your calling. The truth you fear to admit may be the beginning of your healing. Fear is not proof you are weak. It is proof that you are alive. standing on the threshold of the unknown. The persona wants safety, predictability, control, but the self wants expansion, wholeness, depth. Fear is the friction between the two. Imagine standing at the edge of a dark forest. Every instinct screams to turn back, but Jung would urge you forward. The treasure you seek lies inside. The monsters are not there to kill you, but to reveal what you most need to face. Embracing fear does not mean being reckless. It means refusing to let fear be the final voice. It means saying, yes, I am afraid, and yes, I will move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more. The strange paradox is that when you walk toward fear, it often shrinks. What seemed unbearable becomes manageable. What seemed monstrous becomes human. Fear is a signal, not a verdict. And in listening to it consciously, you reclaim the power it once stole. So Jung's fourth step is a call to bravery. Do not run from what frightens you most. Run toward it, because in its shadow lies your task, and in your task lies your transformation. Step 5. Accept the bad. If fear marks the path, then acceptance is the ground you must walk on. Jung's fifth step is both humbling and liberating. Accept not only the good in life, but the bad. Our culture trains us to chase positivity, to plaster over pain with affirmations, to bury grief under distraction. But Jung insisted, wholeness is not about being good. It is about being real. And reality contains both light and dark. To accept the bad is not to celebrate suffering, but to stop fighting it. To say, yes, this too belongs. Failure belongs. Loss belongs. Mistakes belong. They are not intruders in life, they are life. Consider the person who refuses to accept their sadness. They push it down, mask it with forced cheer, but the sadness does not vanish. It seeps out in exhaustion, in emptiness, in the quiet sense that nothing satisfies. Or the one who refuses to accept their flaws. They build a persona of perfection, but inside they are brittle, terrified of being found out. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It does not mean surrendering to injustice or abandoning hope. It means facing what is real without denial. Only then can you respond with clarity instead of illusion. Jung saw acceptance as the soil of meaning. When you accept the bad, you stop wasting energy resisting it. That energy can then be transformed. Grief can become compassion. Failure can become wisdom. Weakness can become tenderness. He often compared the psyche to alchemy. Base metals must be melted, broken down, before they can be transmuted into gold. So too with us. The bad is not waste to discard. It is material to transform. The truth is simple. Life will wound you. You will lose people. You will fail. You will face days where nothing makes sense. But if you can accept this without bitterness, if you can hold the darkness without denying the light, you will find a strength deeper than happiness. The strength of meaning. So Jung's fifth step completes the foundation. Accept the bad. Do not run from it. Do not deny it. Do not curse it. Hold it, face it, and let it teach you. Because every shadow accepted becomes a source of light. Conclusion: from darkness to meaning. Carl Jung never promised an easy life. He did not believe in shortcuts, in quick fixes, or in the illusion that happiness comes from avoiding suffering. Instead, he offered something far more demanding and far more real. A path to meaning through the depths of the psyche. We have walked through his 5 steps. 1. Know your darkness. Step into the cave of your shadow and name what hides there. 2. Work on yourself. Transform flaws into strengths by integrating, not denying, the parts of you that ache. 3. Take action. Move from reflection into reality, letting your insights shape your choices and your days. 4. Embrace fear. See it not as your enemy, but as your compass, pointing you to the task that matters most. 5. Accept the bad. Hold failure, loss, and pain as material for transformation, not intrusions to resist. Together, these are not merely self-help tips. They are a radical reorientation of life. Jung's vision was that meaning is not handed down from the heavens, nor found in applause, nor secured by achievement. Meaning is created in the daily courage to face yourself honestly and to live from that truth. The candle in the darkness. Jung often spoke of symbols, images that carry the soul's truth when words fall short. Perhaps the most fitting image of his teaching is the candle. A candle does not banish the darkness, it illuminates it. Shadows remain, the night persists, and yet, one flame can transform the entire room. Not because it destroys the dark, but because it changes your relationship to it. Your life is that candle. Your willingness to face your shadow, to integrate your contradictions, to act in spite of fear, to accept what is painful. This is the flame you bring into the world. And though the world remains chaotic, though suffering does not vanish, your flame creates meaning. It reveals beauty in the midst of struggle, direction in the midst of confusion, coherence in the midst of contradiction. The gift of individuation. All of Jung's work pointed toward one goal: individuation, the process of becoming whole. This is not perfection. It is not becoming untouchable or flawless. It is becoming real, able to carry the paradoxes of life without splitting apart. The individuated person is not the one who has conquered all fear, but the one who can walk with fear as a companion. Not the one who has erased all flaws, but the one who has integrated them into wisdom. Not the one who avoids all suffering, but the one who can suffer consciously, turning wounds into meaning. This is the gift Jung leaves us. The knowledge that your life is not defined by what happens to you, but by how you engage with it. You are not the mask you wear, nor the projections cast upon you. You are the self, vast, paradoxical, luminous, waiting to be discovered through the very struggles you wish to escape. Your story, your task. At the end of his life, Jung was asked if he believed in God. His reply was telling: "I don't believe, I know." This was not arrogance, but integration. He had lived so deeply into his own psyche, so fully into the paradox of light and shadow, that meaning was no longer a theory. It was experience. The same invitation waits for you: to stop chasing borrowed scripts and to write your own. To tell your story not as a performance, but as an act of liberation. To kindle your candle not for applause, but for truth. Because the sole purpose of human existence, as Jung said, is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being. And that purpose is not out there, waiting in some distant achievement. It is here, now, waiting for you to begin. So the question is not, what will happen to me? The question is, what will I choose to become?